everyone. Happy holidays. Welcome to another episode of BLEAV in BEARS. I'm Joey Christopoulos, my co-host Corey Wotton. Thank you so much for checking us out on YouTube. Comment and question below. Thank you for listening on a TuneIn or SiriusXM or wherever you get your podcast. We got a great Bears-Bills preview coming up in 30 seconds. But first, we got to talk about our sponsor, BetOnline.ag. It's the holiday season, and BetOnline, it's the #1 source for all your football betting needs. They have the latest odds, matchup info, player news, and game trends. They got free contests, live scores, and giveaways all season long. How do you say no? So what you got to do is go to BetOnline.ag right now. You'll receive a 100% welcome bonus, a Christmas miracle, 100% first bonus when you use promo code BLEAV, BLEAV, to receive that reward. BetOnline, where the game starts. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for coming into the pod. Thank you so much for coming into this show all season long. It is week 16. The Chicago Bears are 3-11, but still there's excitement in the air. It's the holiday season. They're playing Bears-Bills. It's going to be insanely cold. The winds are going to be 55 miles an hour, so we're here to talk about it with our co-host, Fox 32 Chicago, CHGO's very own Northwestern Wildcat, and a man who's played in the cold before, and he's smoted Brett Favre in one of the coldest games of all time. It's Corey Wootton. What's up, Corey?
What's going on, my man? And you talked about it, man. I've had some experience playing in the cold. Went to Northwestern, right out there in Evanston. Played for the Bears. And that one game in 2013, Joe, I think you remember, we played the Cowboys. It was about -13 with the wind chill and everything. It was a cold game. I remember Jason Wotton, talented tight end, that's a Hall of Famer. He comes across on a crackback block, and we hit each other. And I just remember he was just like, "Oh my God, so cold." and I was like, "Yeah, man, I know." It was just like kind of like that brother-in-law thing, like let's take care of each other. Like, yeah, let's just give it in there. But yeah, I just remember him saying that, and I just started dying laughing. I'm like, man, it is cold as heck. Like that's the coldest I ever been in a game, honestly. Like, had toe warmers, had everything, bro. -13.
Oh my God.
I never thought I could play in something like that, but yeah, it's going to be similar. It's not going to be that cold on Saturday, but with the wind chill, it's going to be pretty dang cold. Josh Allen coming to town, so it's going to be a great thing because I think Josh Allen's a mobile quarterback that is kind of similar to Justin Fields in his first year. Kind of struggled a little bit. And then really took the jump, his next couple seasons. So we're hoping Justin Fields can eventually be, kind of what Josh Allen is, but on a different level. Because, Justin Fields is a playmaker using his feet. Unbelievable. How about that run on when he's almost sacked by Reddick? That was unbelievable, dude. That was unbelievable.
Justin Fields is a playmaker. Just ask all the Philadelphia Eagles defensive players who've been bringing soundbite after soundbite. Like, Google Darius Slay, go down the list of all of them
Brandon
just shaking
Graham.
their heads. Unbelievable, right, Corey? I mean, and when the defense starts saying things like that, I mean, that's when a Chicago Bears fan's ears have to perk up because I've honestly never heard that before. And, dude, man, it's something else. Like, my wife is a diehard Steelers fan, and she watches Justin Fields play at times and hear me like viscerally react to him on the field making magic. And, you could just kind of tell that he's just a really special player. And he's just so fun to watch, man. I mean, there's no denying it right now. And he showcased it again last week against one of the best teams in the NFL, if not the best team in the NFC.
The best part about it is, right, this has been an awful season for the Bears, right? We have a lot of deficiencies. The defense has been pretty awful as far as like the defensive line and lack of pressure. Secondary's been a bright spot at times. But I think the thing is, like, this doesn't feel like a 3-win season at this point, right? It feels a lot better. Why? Because we finally have a quarterback that everybody feels great about, right? The season started out, everyone was kind of questioning Justin Fields and what can he do? And then all of a sudden the Patriots game, that kind of shifted. So it's been great to see Justin Fields' development, right? And what I love the most is he got sacked 6 times in that game, right? Pressured, I don't even know, probably another 10 times, hit a bunch of other times, but he didn't turn the ball over, right? Which is unbelievable, because most guys that are playing against that talented Philadelphia Eagles front, they can beat you with straight rush. They had some great games in there, but Justin Fields being able to do what he did, his passer rating being what it was, being pretty efficient. He left a couple on the table on some of those swing screens. He didn't set his feet or whatnot, but it's been unbelievable to just see him go against great defenses and play well and make plays. And hey, I told you, there's not a defensive end in this game that can run with him. It's literally on those zone reads. It's like good luck. Like trying to run with him a defensive end against Justin Fields. It's going to be so fun next year to see him when we actually have that offensive line, when we have one true number one receiver, right? So Poles, if you got to trade, I think that's probably going to be the best route to trade for a wide receiver, right? Because I feel like at this point, right, Joey, I'm eyeing that first round pick as a defensive lineman. I think Will Anderson, Jalen Carter, we got to go one or two. I don't think we trade back. I think we focus on one of those guys for sure, because I think those are difference makers, franchise guys that can do that. But I think at the wide receiver position, I don't feel confident in picking anybody with that first pick, in the first four picks potentially. I feel like we're going to have to trade for a veteran guy, maybe like a DeAndre Hopkins, maybe a Mike Evans.
I'll throw a name at you right now, and it's strictly out of contractual issues that they're going to have moving forward. The new name this week is T. Higgins. Now, this is a big receiver who's played in some huge games right now, but the question is, Corey, that's probably the highest price tag out of all those players that you just named. He's probably a guy that the Bengals are going to ask for at least a first-round pick for, which we're not really honestly going to have. And, outside of maybe, we can get into it later, but, I like Quentin Johnston a whole lot out of TCU.
Yep.
But is he going to be around at 55 when we draft in the second round? Who knows, at this point. What do you think about T. Higgins? Would that have interest to you?
I like him, but the thing is, right, obviously Jamar Chase is the number one over there. I just worry, right, is he truly a number one? That's what I'm worried about.
His life is too easy in that offense?
Exactly. Because I feel like he's talented for sure. But maybe he's in Jamar Chase's shadow. But my thing is like this. He is a young guy, right? He's only going to keep getting better. The part I worry about with some of these receivers that really do well underneath a number one receiver, you look at Juju Smith-Schuster, right, when Antonio Brown left. You look at Chase Claypool as well, when some guys left. They struggle to get that same production in there. So that's why, like a Mike Evans for me, that would be a pretty good situation. I feel like he still has, 4 more good years left in the tank. And what are we trying to do? We're trying to win a Super Bowl in the next 3 years. I think that's the goal. I think if we could do it in 2, that would be great. But I think it's surrounding Justin Fields with that number 1, right? Because I feel great about Darnell Mooney as a number 2 all day, right? I feel good about him as a 2 or 3, right? If Claypool can come alive, which I think he can, but we need that number 1 receiver. And then we have Cole Kmet for the red zone as well. So then I feel good about that situation with playmakers for Justin Fields. And then it's about the offensive line, right? Because I feel decent about Braxton Jones. I told you he's got to get stronger. But at the same time, now we have a right tackle issue. Now we have
how's that Leatherwood smelling?
Issue.
How did Leatherwood smell last week, Corey?
It smelled like burnt leather, bro.
That's a rough. That was a rough.
Yeah.
Rough
so we know right now he's not a right tackle. Not a right tackle, right? Reddick's a good, but he just didn't seem like he had the footwork for it. He looked very good in the run game. So I put on my cap right here, and I'm going to say Leatherwood, move him to guard, right? Tevin Jenkins is out right now. He's not going to play this week with the neck issue. I'm hoping it's not serious because he's the future Pro Bowl caliber right guard. But now put Leatherwood in that position, right? See what he can do out there. Let's see, right? Because then let's move him to left. Let's try him at right guard and see because – really good run blocker, strong guy. I just don't know if he has the footwork for that. Same thing with Tevin Jenkins. We tried him at left tackle. Didn't really work out. He's a fit at right guard. And who knows, maybe Tevin Jenkins can be left guard and, Alex Leatherwood can be a right guard or vice versa, But I think you have to give him a chance at guard, right? We gave up money to get him, like we're taking his contract. So you got to see what he can do, right? These 4 games, give him a chance at guard, right? Cody Whitehair, got absolutely manhandled last week. So that was surprising for me because I've always been a big fan of his. I thought he's been a solid performer, and he kind of struggled. So, yeah, and now they're talking about how they don't know if they're going to keep Lucas Patrick. So I guess we'll see how this is in the offseason, right? I just feel like he didn't get a fair shake at center. Guard, he got destroyed, but he's not a guard. So we got to see about that. We have a lot of issues, right? We need 4 defensive linemen. We need 4 defensive linemen, too. So we have a lot of holes to fill, Joey.
Yeah, that's the question, Corey. Well, so I can't tell if it's the coaching staff trying to protect Cody Whitehair, but they do have him on the injured list now with a knee injury, so we don't know whether he was playing through something or not. But yeah, man, that whole offensive line really, really struggled last week. And, obviously the Bills, even minus Von Miller, they still have talent on that defensive side of the ball. So, Corey, before we preview Bears and Bills, I had a topic for you. We teased it last week. You kind of mentioned a couple of them right now, but I want to hear Corey's Christmas list for the 2023 Bears, next year's Chicago Bears. Now, you've mentioned some of these. Number one wide receiver, offensive line, defensive line. If you could put one, of course, we have a lot of holes to fill, right?
Yeah.
We got a lot of money to spend and some draft capital. So, Corey, what is that number one? What is number one on Corey's Christmas list that you want to see for the 2023 Bears next season?
So number one, I think it's on the defensive line. And people say, whoa, what about just no, our defensive line? I mean, Joe, you've seen it. We have 8.5 sacks of defensive line. We need pressure, right?
Yep.
Championships are won in this league by defensive linemen. I could go on examples. The Giants beating Tom Brady, the Von Miller beating the Panthers, Seattle beating Denver in that one game where Peyton Manning got absolutely destroyed by Cliff Averill and them.
Patriots beat the Rams, the vaunted Jared Goff Rams, a couple of years ago.
Exactly. You look at last year with Von Miller and Aaron Donald. Guys like that. Defense wins championships, and any team, I believe, you have to beef up both sides of the O-line. So O-line and D-line. So I think both of those to me are chief concern. But I think defense first, because Joey, it's been tough. The Eagles had 4 guys that had 8.5 sacks or more. And we have as a whole team 8.5 sacks on the defensive line. So yeah, we have a lot of needs to feed. I feel like Justin Jones, he should play the nose. Let's have him back for another year. He's at a decent price. I feel like he'll be a fit for there because I told you, I don't think he's fast enough to play 3 technique in this. So essentially then 3, right? We have three 2 ends and a 3 technique, right? And then obviously we'll draft some depth at defensive end and tackle as well. But the offensive line too. Now it seems like we need another guard. We need potentially a center. We need a right tackle. So there's a lot of needs. So honestly, I'm telling you like this, and people might say, "Oh, Riley Reif's getting." Let's keep Riley Reif. I've liked what I've seen from him. Honestly, I think he's been solid. I think he hasn't been beat much. He's a solid guy. I feel like too many times people are like, well, he's old. He's getting up there. He's not going to be. Listen, he gives us a better chance to win than Larry Borum did in the beginning of the season. But it's almost like, oh, I want to play the young guy because, yeah, he could be here. No, Joey, if they're equal, you play the younger guy. But if somebody's significantly better and gives you a better chance to win, you play him. So my thing is like this. You have Riley Reif for another year, right? Put him at right tackle. I'll play him at right tackle, right? And then that's one thing you don't have to worry about for next season, right? So get him at right tackle. Braxton Jones at left tackle. Tevin Jenkins, hopefully his neck is good. He's back at right guard, right? Leatherwood, give him a shot at left guard. Let's see what he can do, right? And I think you give Lucas Patrick another opportunity because he really didn't get. And then all of a sudden, you got that offensive line figured out a little bit, maybe potentially just a guard for next year, right? And then you draft some guys later in the round that could be potential, like a Braxton Jones for next year, right?
Right.
Then you take care of that defensive line, and then you get yourself a weapon because you need. That's the only thing I worry about because Poles is really confident with the offensive line, right? I think he's a guru. He says when it comes to that, right?
Yeah.
But I'm just hoping he doesn't leave Justin Fields out to dry like he did this year because I really think that's what he did. He didn't surround him with enough talent. When Equanimeous St. Brown is your best receiver, when coming into the season, I think he had 400 yards receiving in his career. You're doing Justin Fields a disservice, honestly. Like this could have turned out way worse than it has been, right? Because Justin Fields has flashed so much talent as a playmaker, but he needs to surround him with one more weapon, a legit weapon, Joey, that's going to go up and get it. That when you need something on the line, like a Justin Jefferson, like a Jamar Chase, that's what we need. We need a dog at receiver.
Yeah, so Corey, I think in the beginning of the season, I was harping on, you need to get that big stud, left tackle in the draft. And let's just say if they do that at the top of the draft next year, I will be happy. But actually, Corey, I'm leaning a little bit more in the direction that I think that you're pointing at is that we've got 5 picks in the first 4 rounds coming up. One of those definitely needs to be an offensive lineman. Outside of that, though, Justin Fields, I think, has really changed how we should really attack this offseason. And by that, I mean, I'm with you, man, on this whole concept of we got to just bring in a bunch of kids. Can we just get some fucking professionals at the offensive line, please? You know what I'm saying? Like, can we? It's this thing of like, think of any analogy that you want. Someone that drives a train or a stagecoach. You don't hand it over to the kids. You give it to the people that have done it before, right? And you keep trying to build it out incrementally through there. And I know Ryan Poles wants to build it out incrementally. So get some veterans and some solid people. You know what I mean? Fine, go get, I'm going to get his first name wrong, Elgin Jenkins or whatever from the Packers to play guard if you want to. Sign somebody, bring O'Reilly Reef back, see if you can get more from Braxton Jones, draft a guy, but don't get multiple guys that are so young that need to learn on the fly. And Corey, that is my big Christmas wish, is that I think Ryan Poles needs to completely I think he needs to change his perspective of how he should treat this offseason. And I'm going to use the word urgency. I'm not going to use the word desperate. But I know that Ryan Poles is a new general manager, and he's going to build this thing out 1 year at a time by the draft and incrementally get pieces and grow everything together. But, dude, I'll be honest with you right now. After what I've seen from Justin Fields, we have an opportunity. I don't know about winning the Super Bowl next year, but we have an opportunity to be a playoff team. And anyone that says otherwise is fooling themselves. If we have ourselves a Justin Fields type quarterback or any of these quarterbacks, tell me right now, if Justin Herbert went to the Super Bowl this year, I would be surprised. I wouldn't be shocked. You want to know why? Because he's Justin Herbert, that type of caliber of quarterback. And if Justin Fields is going to be that kind of guy, there's no reason to believe that we can't compete next year. So when you're talking about allocating dollars, I want him to have a bit of some balance, right? I want to see him be bold. Defensive line, I think, is going to be a huge issue. Linebacker is going to be another issue. We want to get someone to pair with whoever, if it is Jack Sanborn or if it is someone else. We want to figure that out. I think you want to be veteran savvy on the offensive line. And then that wide receiver position, man, that's the tough one. That's the one where Ryan Poles needs to get creative, and it's probably above my pay grade. But, man,
he's got to get that one right. He's got to get that one right, 100%.
Got to get it right. Yeah,
because you can't leave Justin Fields with the same roster at wide receiver that he had this year. You just can't. That's doing him a disservice, right? That is neglecting him. Yeah. I think arguably, besides the defensive line, for me, I think that's the most important thing. And obviously, I know he's going to address the offensive line, but I'm just hoping that he has that first on his importance, right? Because just look at if we would have had one more weapon, like O-line aside, right? If we had a true number one, if we had a Mike Evans, if we had a DeAndre Hopkins, if we had a A.J. Brown, if we had a Devontae Smith, look at Jalen Hurts, how there's a couple throws where you're like, oh, that should have been picked maybe. But they go up and get it, right? Because they're dogs. That's what we need. We need a dog. We don't need a dog. We need a dog, Joey. That's what we need, all right?
I mean, we can play with the fantasy maybe later, but I am really curious to see what happens to the Raiders in the offseason. I know the dude just got a ton of money, but you wonder what Devontae Adams' happiness level is going to be depending on who their quarterback is going to be next season. Maybe that's another one to keep an eye on. DeAndre Hopkins is an interesting call. I think Mike Evans is probably the move, right? He's only 31 years old. He does have some money left in his contract. And this year, and he's on my fantasy team, dude. I can't imagine the guy's leading the league in touchdown catches that are being called back by holding penalties, right? I don't think that's his fault right now. And maybe his numbers are being driven down just enough to the point where maybe he could be on the market and it might not be as pricey as he would have been in years past.
Brady might not be there next year. To be honest, they were talking about a potential Patriots reunion, maybe. I don't know. Who knows? So I guess we'll see how everything unfolds. But yeah, I think wide receiver got to do it, Joey. Like you just look at week in and week out, the quarterbacks. Look at Josh Allen, right? Stephon Diggs, right? You look at Travis Kelce with Patrick Mahomes, right? You look at Tua,
all of them.
Cheetah, Jalen Waddle.
Corey, you mentioned this on the CHGO. I think it was the after show. And if you go around and we all want to, Chicago Bears fans, we're new to this thing, all right? We're new to the party of having a franchise quarterback, all right? So we're not exactly sure how to read the room right now. But you were so perfectly pointing out the fact that if you go around the room of the great quarterbacks, look at each and every single one of them, and they are paired with a great offensive weapon. Like you said, Mahomes and Travis Kelce, Jamar Chase and Joe Burrow, Justin Herbert and Keenan Allen.
Yep.
Yeah, I mean, you go around every single one of them, and then the Jalen Hurts is risen up the charts this year. Oh, I wonder why. A.J. Brown and Devontae
AJ
Smith. Tua
Brown. Yep.
Tagovailoa. I wonder why. Tyreek Hill and Jalen Waddle. Why is Aaron Rodgers struggling this year? Oh, I don't know, because maybe he lost
Christian
Devontae
Watson.
Adams. Yeah,
Christian
Christian
Watson
Watson.
dropping the ball. Literally
Yeah, all
Randall
the time.
Cobb towards the tail end of his career. Receivers matter. I don't care what anybody says. Like, yeah, if you have a system and you have younger guys like Aaron Rodgers when he had Randall Cobb in his prime and Jordy Nelson, that worked for what they were doing, right? Because they were
Yeah.
reliable receivers that fit that role that they had. They don't have those same guys that can do what they did. They don't. They don't have a Jermichael Finley, right? They don't have that. They don't have any of those weapons. So receivers matter. Poses, please get him a true number one, a guy that can go up and get it and help him out. Because there's times out there where Justin Fields has thrown it right on the money to a guy like St. Brown. And don't get me wrong, he has played way above what I thought he should, 100%.
I think we should bring it
But
back.
I think we should, 100%.
Yeah.
But Joey, he's not a number one. He's not even a number two. I'm telling you, he's
He's
not.
a five. He's a five.
Yeah, he's a 4 or 5 receiver, and that's no disrespect to him because I love what he's been able to do. Right, it's been great for his career, for him to try to get this exposure. But to be honest, Joey, he's not a top receiver. He's not even close, and it's just a disservice that he's the best receiver for Justin Fields this year, and that's telling you everything you know. Oh, well, they don't pass the ball that well. Well, why? Holes handcuffed Justin Fields. No ifs, ands, or buts. So I'm going to tell you what, he left this team out to dry this year. 100%. He left this team out to dry with the moves he made, trading Khalil Mack, trading Robert Quinn, trading Roquan Smith, not giving Justin Fields the weapons, right? So I'm just hoping that this is in his plan that he's like, hey, next year, I'm really going to showcase what I can do as a GM and what I can bring to the Bears. So, hey, I'm trusting this process. I told you, I'm not going to evaluate him until after the free agency, the draft, and then how the season goes. That's how I evaluate him, right? If he doesn't surround this team with enough talent, especially Justin Fields, that's on him.
Well, so Corey, is it fair to say that if we can maybe play armchair psychologist a little bit, that in my opinion, Ryan Poles came into this season and he was wait and see on Justin Fields. And I think that's why he traded the guys that he traded. I think that's why the offensive line looked the way that it did. That's why they didn't take a wide receiver. They went defense first in the first 2 rounds because he was like, you know what, I don't know about Justin Fields, so I'm going to play the draft pick game, right? And I'm going to build up my draft capital and see what happens. But Corey, is it also fair to say that the wait and see is over? We have seen Justin Fields, right? So this whole thing of like, we're going to build this thing and we're going to go nice and slow and all this other stuff, I think that's out the window, man. We've seen, we know. Now it's time for Ryan Poles to act accordingly. And, I'm not saying be desperate and, overpay for some guy, but I'm also saying don't do the Ryan Pace thing either, where we're just going to spend all of our money on one side of the ball. Do a little bit of everything all over the field and bring this sucker up a little bit quicker than I think maybe he anticipated because of Justin Fields' play. Is that fair to say?
Exactly. I mean, we missed out on George Pickens, who I think is going to be a great dang player in this league, right? Who was first round talent that we could have got a second. Hey,
passed him twice.
Exactly. So yeah, well, I love the Brisker pick. Gordon has been up and down. He's gotten better.
Brisker's good though.
Brisker's really good. He hit the nail. He hit the nail on the head with that one for sure.
Yeah.
Velus Jones kind of doesn't look like the best pick. It's not over yet, but doesn't look like a great situation. That's the problem, right? That was his best receiver option for Justin Fields, a 25-year-old receiver in college that's kind of unproven.
He waited too long. I went back and I looked at it too because I wanted, you play that fun 2020 hindsight game, and you do the whole like these are all the wide receivers taken after Velus Jones, and if you pull up the list, none of them have really actually made an impact in the NFL. The problem is that Ryan Poles waited too late in a wide receiver rich class. He thought that he could get some sort of depth a little bit further down, you know what I mean? And he waited way too long. By that time, Sky Moore was gone. George Pickens was gone, and that's just kind of what ended up happening. And yeah, Velus Jones, we did that. We did that number last week. My final Christmas wish question for you, and then we're gonna preview Bears and Bills, do a final score, and get out of here. My final one is: what is your Christmas wish for the coaching staff? You can pick Eberflus, you can pick Alan Williams, you can pick Luke Getsy if you want to. But Christmas wish heading into 2023, all these guys are doing it for the first time, Corey. So,
Yep.
what is your Christmas wish to think that they're going to be able to take this to another level moving forward?
Luke Getsy, right? Because I feel like Justin Fields' development is critical with Luke Getsy. And I think since that Patriots game, he's done a great job of game planning for Justin Fields. However, when we get to the 30-yard line, right, like kind of that range, the play calling gets a little tight, Joey,
A little
right?
tight.
And even from the beginning of the season, right, at one point in time, we were 20 early on the season, like 20 runs to 2 passes in the red zone. I'm like, whoa, dude,
Yeah.
you got to pass the ball in the red zone, right? And then when he started passing the ball a little bit, Cole Kmet came alive. Now he's missing again, right? But that's what it is. Luke Getsy, I want you to improve on your 30 and in, like kind of like that red zone range right before the red zone. I want to see you put your foot on the accelerator. Don't put it on the brake. Let's keep this going, right? Justin Fields, you got it, ebbs and flows of the game, right? Justin Fields is completing some passes. Let's work off that. Let's work some RPOs. Let's work some more passes. You just can't go back to running on 3rd and 1, or passing the ball on 3rd and 1. That was something in the last game that I was like, it's 3rd and 1, dude. Why are we passing the ball? And you play it as 2-down territory. You got 2 plays to get a yard, right? Run the football. So I want to see better play calling in those situations for Luke Getsy because I think he is talented and I think he could take Justin Fields' game to the next level, but it's about improving on that red zone play calling.
Yeah, we talked a little bit about, just, wait and see with Justin Fields. I've seen, I know, I'm excited. Let's move forward. Luke Getsy, I still am just a little touch of a wait and see on him. I like it. I think that he pairs well with Justin Fields. Clearly, that they've been able to evolve as the season goes along, I think is a positive sign. You would like to think as the years move forward, their relationship together will get stronger, more cohesive. But I'm right there with you, man. There is going to come a time when you can't just say, hey, Justin, take it. I mean, at the 5-yard line and run it in. You're going to want to have some counters and some stuff to play off of that too, as well. So, it is really funny too, as well, that like 6 weeks ago, one of the topics in Chicago was, will we lose Luke Getsy as a head coach next year? That was one of the funniest things I heard all season long, Corey, because I like the guy. I really do. He's super talented, but can we just slow the roll for a second here? Like, Luke Getsy needs to take Justin Fields, and we need to go to the NFC Championship game and play in a Super Bowl, and then, like, talk to the Jaguars about becoming the next head coach. Like, I can't right now. Slow down, everybody.
If Justin Fields was a top 10 offense with this personnel that he has right now, I would say Luke Getsy is getting a head coaching job. But no, come on, man. It hasn't been that good. He started out poorly. And if you look at the Bears stats, besides the rushing game, it's pretty awful. Like when you look at the actual stats and numbers,
bottom of the NFL across the board.
But Justin Fields' playmaking has been unbelievable. He's carried this team. Like his back must be sore, low key. He's got to hit the inversion table, like the one I got right here, because his back's got to be sore, man. Like, so Luke Getsy, we need to see more. But yeah, with everything that happened with Hackett this year, nobody's having a coach become a head coach if if they don't have multiple years of experience. I'm telling you, that Broncos less ride. Oh man, that's been a debacle, man. Early on in the season, from you pay this man all this money and then you kick a field goal.
That's a great. Dude, that's a great call. And if anyone hears what we're talking about right now, is sniffing around a Justin Fields counter in terms of him passing the ball, just do me a favor, look at yards per attempt, look at yards per completion, okay, and then actually watch some film and see some of the throws that he's executing out there with the bereft of talented offensive weapons he has. And trust me, the guy has a future as a passer. I swear to God, if I hear one more joke about how Justin Fields is a runner only, I'm going to probably jump through this Zoom and confront somebody. No, you know what I mean? It's
when no one's open.
It's lazy. Yeah, it's lazy.
When no one's open, you got to make plays, man. And that's what he does, right? You take what the defense is giving you, and honestly, I don't think too many quarterbacks can put up the type of production and be in every game like he has carried the Bears. With the talent he has, I don't think many quarterbacks could do that. I don't.
It's the definition of making chicken salad out of chicken shit. It really has been that definition this year, and obviously Poles and the team was kind of designed that way. And our idea now is to elevate that level of play to see if Justin can then for even go to a higher level and become one of the best quarterbacks in the NFL, which is what we're hoping for. Corey, really quick, give me one. We do Corey's keys. We moved it over to Corey's C's right now because the Bears. I don't think we're really rooting for them to win many more games. Let's get that number 2 pick, and they're playing a very tough Buffalo Bills team that has Super Bowl aspirations again. So, what do you want to see in this game? What does Corey want to see in Week 16, Bills and Bears?
I want to see Justin Fields' continued development, right? I want to see the passing game with Luke Getsy, right? Let's dial it up for Justin Fields. We know what he can do as a runner, but now it's about his development in the passing game. So let's take some shots. I know we don't have the arsenal, but I want to see it there. I want to see us take more shots deep, right? We have nothing to lose in this game, honestly, right? You're going against a great team that, like you said, has Super Bowl aspirations, and like these past 2 weeks, these are two teams that we're trying to be like, right? We have a talented mobile quarterback that can
Yeah.
pass the ball, right? Both teams have great defenses, the Eagles and the Bills, right? And that both teams have weapons at wide receiver, something that we don't. So
Yeah.
these are two examples of like we should model. You always like this, right? You want to model your game after people that do well and work well together. So that's what the Bears should be looking at. So Justin Fields, just continue doing what you're doing, but Luke Getsy, dial it up for him, right? Put him in position to succeed. Don't allow the front seven of the Bills to really hurt you like he did last week, because things were really working well the way we were protecting. So put Justin Fields in a position to succeed. Let's work the play action. Let's work the screens. Let's work the draws early on. Get that front seven off balance, right? So it's critical for Luke Getsy to do that, right? He did a pretty good job against the Cowboys early on, keeping that talented defensive line off balance, right? As the game went on, when we had to pass the ball, it got a little different. But keep them off balance early on. Rely on the running game. Work the play action off it.
Yeah, I think this is actually a really interesting litmus test for another little challenge marker for Luke Getsy coming into this game. And Corey, you brought up a really great point about the Eagles and the Bills, kind of the mirrored images of hope the Chicago Bears aspire to be as we compete up against them. And I'm gonna go. I got two kind of what I want to seize in terms of the Luke Getsy thing. Take the temperature of the room, as in it's going to be 0 degrees outside, Corey. So you know what I'm saying? Like, play that accordingly. I am a little terrified that if the wind really does start to kind of pick up a little bit, they're calling for 30, 40 mile per hour winds. I am worried that we're going to expose Justin Fields to probably some more runs than I would probably like, especially in situations where you try and drop back to pass. Maybe it isn't there for that quick hit because we can't get separation. Justin all of a sudden is scrambling for his life. I'm just like constantly thinking about his health as if he's
Yeah.
like my own child. I'm watching my own child in the stands, so maybe that's my own problem. Another thing, Corey, that I want to see, and this is my big C of the game, and I know we like to talk about JF1 a lot. I think this is a really great opportunity the next 3 weeks, and I liked what I saw last week. I think David Montgomery. I want to see, especially in a game like this where it's going to be cold, we might not be able to attempt as many passes as we want. David Montgomery has a 3-game audition for either his next football team or whether he comes back to the Chicago Bears. I don't know. I don't really have a firm opinion on it either way right now, but he has an opportunity right now to, I think, make an impression and maybe kind of show us a little bit whether he deserves to be a part of this Bears future moving forward. And he's a guy we're going to have to lean on. It's going to be freezing cold outside. He's a guy who likes to punish the opposing defenders. This is kind of tailor made for David Montgomery to have a really, really strong game. And I know he caught a pass for a touchdown, scored a touchdown last week. Let's keep it going. Finish up strong, David Montgomery. Even if you're not on the Bears next year, I think you're a solid football player, and he has an opportunity to put up some numbers in the next couple of weeks. And I'm rooting for him, and I want to see it. And if we don't go with David Montgomery next year, I'm kind of curious who's going to be the guy in pass pro that's going to help out our offense. I still think David Montgomery could be a part of this Bears mix. I just think he needs to finish strong, and that's what I want to see against the Bills this week.
I'm not too concerned if he finishes strong because if they keep him at bay, it'll be a better deal for us in the offseason. So
Yeah, it's true. Don't let him go too nuts. That's what you're
yeah,
saying.
yeah. Don't let him get too nuts, right?
I'm his agent
But
over
yeah,
here.
I think bringing him back would be a smart decision because it's kind of like thunder and lightning, like the Tiki Barber Ron Dane
Yeah.
we have with him and Khalil Herbert, and I think that's a good fit. Khalil Herbert is still under contract, I believe, for 2 more years, right?
Mhm.
Yeah, so that would be a good situation to have, and yeah, maybe bring David Montgomery back on a 4-year deal. Maybe 12 to 15 million, something like that.
I was
With
thinking 18,
yeah,
19, guarantee
yeah,
12 of it, something like that. You know what I mean?
yeah,
Give him
yeah.
basically the Tariq Cohen, but maybe a couple of million more. Why wouldn't you?
Exactly, exactly.
100%.
But yeah, I think everything's more in the favor of the Bears at this point because I think Khalil Herbert, more yards per carry, even though I think David Montgomery has a little bit more value because of what he can do out of the backfield, blocking, give you a yard if you need it, between the tackles, tough old school type football player. So I think there's value in there. It's just about the right price. So I think if they can get him back and have Khalil Herbert, we got Evans as well that flashes. So yeah, I don't know. That might be a thing too. If they feel good about Evans as well, that might be more wiggle room to kind of let David Montgomery go. So I guess we'll see how this unfolds. I think they like him, but it's just all about price.
Yeah. Let's do it. Let's do it, Corey. Bears Bills final score week 16. What do you got?
Okay, I think it's going to be a lower scoring game, not super low, but I think it's going to be like a 21-17 Bills in
Mm.
this one. Kind of a grind them out game for them. I think it's just been like every other game, right? Justin Fields and the Bears do good offensively, make some plays. Defensively, we still struggle with pressure and stopping the run, but I think because of the weather, we keep it close. So I think Josh Allen's going to get the better of them. Buffalo's looking to continue to get better and make that push, like you said, for a Super Bowl run. So I don't see the Bears winning this one, and it'll be good in the scheme of things with draft picks as well with the Bears loss.
Yeah, Corey, I'm not that far away. I mean, yeah, with the weather coming up, it's just one of those things that can just completely submarine your final score, right? But I'm gonna
Yeah.
go. I'm gonna go 23-20 Buffalo Bills. Just because I'm basically picking from the greatest hits of what this Bears season is. This Bears season has basically been they can't stop the run. Justin Fields is awesome. Cairo Santos will miss an extra point, which will obviously kind of obscure the score and will completely change our decisions in the third and fourth quarter. I also think, too, as well, this could be one of those games, too, Corey, where the Bears might be in, let's just say, I don't know, the 27-28 yard line, and it's 4th and 5, and they opt not to go for a 42-yard field goal because of the conditions. And that could also stunt the score. You know what I mean? That could also,
Exactly.
you
Yep.
pick up that fourth down on 4th and 5. You're in a position where you're doing stuff that's maybe a little bit abnormal because you just don't trust your kicker and the weather conditions at the time. So I'm going to go 23-20. Buffalo Bills win. A close nail biter. We're in it every fourth quarter. We figure out a way to lose. And, I mean, we just keep on marching towards that second overall pick. And I actually have the Texans beating the Titans this week. That's right. You heard me right here on Believe in Bears. I think the Texans pick up a win, and I think this gets really, really, really interesting heading into the final couple games of the season because they only have to win 2 more. If they get to
Yeah.
three, if they get to 3, that means they have 3.5 because they have a tie, Corey, which means it's not even
Ooh,
tied anymore. So they actually have a higher
exactly.
winning percentage. We jump into that number 1. That's what I'm rooting for. Corey, real quick before we get out of here, we're taping this on a Wednesday night. It's probably coming out on a Thursday. A little off topic, man, but this is NFL centric, and it's near and dear, obviously, to my home right now. Franco Harris passed away today. One of the great, not only NFL legends, one of the great NFL winners of all time, but also was a part of the Immaculate Reception, which was named by NFL Network the greatest play in NFL history. And now the Steelers and Raiders are playing each other this Saturday night on Christmas Eve, and they were going to celebrate that anniversary with everyone that was involved there. And now it's going to be a celebration, but also there's going to be a bit of a rumination on his passing. Do you have any? I mean, did you have aunts, uncles? I mean, you yourself. Do you have Franco Harris fans in your life? Did he mean anything to you? I mean, he was just such a great, impactful player in NFL history.
So I didn't have anybody that was like a diehard fan of his or the Steelers, but I think people just respected his game, and the person he was. That's all I ever heard was great person, great player. But I think that's the thing. Like when someone is referred to as a great person off the field, I think that holds more weight for me, at least, right? Because there's so many good football players out there, right? But it's all about the person that you can be. And I think that's when everyone talks about him, when you hear about him, it's a first class guy, always did things the right way. And that's something that I think more players should aspire to be. Because I think that's the one thing, when it comes to your reputation, you want to be able to have both, be a great football player, but have been a great person that was a great teammate. So yeah, I've heard nothing but great things, and it's unfortunate, right, when someone passes away. Especially someone of his caliber and all that, especially with everything you said. They're having the immaculate reception kind of anniversary, and it's kind of going to be a somber thing, with his passing. But I know they definitely will honor him in the right way. And I know your wife's side of the family and her are probably, Franco Harris is an absolute legend. If you're a Steelers fan, so
Yeah.
Prayers and thoughts for his family. I know it's a tough time, especially with the holidays right here. So just wishing them the best. And I know it's a tough situation anytime you lose somebody, but he did a lot of good in the world, and I think he made a lot of people happy, both on and off the field. So prayers and thoughts with his family.
Yeah, and I'd like to attribute this to I heard something from Rich Eisen today, and if I get it wrong, please aggregate and comment below. But Corey, in NFL history, he is the leading rusher in Super Bowl history in Super Bowl games, and he is 289 yards ahead of Emmitt Smith, the greatest rusher of all time. So just if you know, what could be one of those records, dude, that just never gets broken, right? If you're 289 in front of Emmitt Smith and the amount of Super Bowls that they went to, and the success that Franco Harris had in those Super Bowls, that's super special,
Pretty
man.
impressive.
And maybe my final thought on it is, what's so interesting about the immaculate reception in any sport, the '85 Bears. Try and put yourself in the shoes of a Steelers fan, Bears fan right now. Is that moment not only brought together this incredible dynasty and turned the Pittsburgh Steelers in from honestly also rans into these winners, that has spanned on the last 40 years. That play and that moment, him on the field, really brought people together. And then, as you mentioned, his kindness as a person also made Pittsburgh Steelers fans proud to be Steelers fans because of the person that he was. And now this Saturday night, I it's going to be sad, but I think it's just going to be really powerful, right? Is there ever going to be a moment outside of them winning a Super Bowl or some sort of big game when Pittsburgh and all Steelers fans across the country are ever going to be closer together? You know what I mean? Like really, like truly come together in this one moment to recognize the great life of Franco Harris. And I think that's what we're going to see Saturday night. And it's a tribute to him. You know what I mean? On and off the field. So.
Exactly. So, like I said, thoughts and prayers for his family, and just trying to honor him like they will, and just he's got to enjoy every moment, not to get mushy, but like tomorrow's not promised for any of us, so you got to enjoy the time with your family, your friends, and those that matter to you, and live every day to the fullest, right? Because tomorrow, like I said, is not guaranteed. So everybody enjoy the holidays, and enjoy that time with your family, because that's really what's important in this life. Your family, your friends, your relationships, your bonds, and just try to be the best person that you can be.
Oh, man, super well said. And yeah, I appreciate every single moment that I get a chance to do these pods with you, Corey. This was, I believe, in Bears today. We're previewing Bears and Bills for Week 16. Today's episode is presented by BetOnline.ag. Promo code BLEAV, BLEAV, to get a 100% holiday bonus on your first deposit. You can't get that anywhere else. So go to BetOnline for all the amazing action coming up this Christmas weekend. Thank you so much for tuning in on YouTube. Comment and question below. Thank you for listening to us on TuneIn, SiriusXM. If you heard our ads listening or maybe watching the games, then you come over to our show. Thank you so much. If you enjoyed it, please just tell a friend to check us out moving forward. Corey, man, you said it best, man. Happy holidays to everyone, to you and yours, to everyone out there listening. Be well, be safe. Please be good to each other. And, Bears Bills, it's going to be cold this weekend, Corey. It's bear weather. So bear down. Bear
down,
weather,
baby.